Reginald here.
Wow, 4 in a row!
I've got a question for you. How is it that all of these people can climb to Celestial or Eternity even while using so-called F-tier heroes like Iron Fist and Mr. Fantastic and Scarlet Witch, but you can't? For that matter, you're probably actually using S-tier heroes like Bucky and Hela or Thing and Magneto, and you're still stuck. Well, I've actually been grappling with the same problem for a while now, and I think I actually figured it out. Or I should say that I did figure it out, since I got to Celestial on Mr. Fantastic, and I have a noticeably positive win rate on him and in my recent games. In fact, it turns out I'm the 247th best Mr. Fantastic in the game. Anyway, so what's the answer? Well, it is more complex than this single phrase, so do stick around for the rest of the video and I will download the proper concept into your cognition cortex. But I don't hide the ball on this channel, so in short, it's the objective, stupid. So let me tell you a quick story that is intended to help walk you through the logic and show you what you are missing. I hear that people learn better through stories than through just raw telling. It's the hard science, or so I'm told, so saddle up and do some dishes or something while you listen in. I'll do a few pretty pictures later. At the start of the whole Rivals excitement, I was conventionally late to the party and got started right at the season reset for Season 1. I climbed up as a flex player into GM3, which at the time was the top 2% of the player base. Certainly good enough to talk about the game on YouTube without being some uninformed goober anyway, and then I took a break to cover an update on another video game haunt of mine. And I came back from that break wanting to learn to be DPS better, and I settled on Mr. Fantastic because I figured if I could climb on the so-called worst character, I can definitely climb on any better character. Things did not go well. Okay, so no problem, right? I'm a smart guy, let's go find out why. After all, there's people in Celestial and Eternity right now, or then, with positive win rates on Mr. Fantastic. I should be able to do it too, right? So let's go see what those people who are better than me are doing. I found some Mr. Fantastic players posting high-tier gameplay videos. I watched lots of YouTube coaches for advice. I learned the game better. I learned my abilities better. I practiced on the range. I got one-on-one coaching from an Eternity Mr. Fantastic player, who was goated, by the way. Thank you very much for making me better at the game. But I'm going to be honest, I was still stuck just loading around Diamond 1 to GM2 and not making any progress. The question of why I can't climb just kept coming up. Just why? 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 The kicker that really got my noggin jogging was about 10 days ago or so. Ottr, who is cracked at the video game, posted his solo to Celestial Mr. Fantastic only video. In this video, he climbs his way to Celestial on Mr. Fantastic while not even cycling his abilities properly. And I don't mean that as an insult, the dude is definitely gooder at the video game than I am, but he's not doing the specific thing correctly, and I will explain what that specific thing is another day, so come back for that. But again, he hit Celestial on what was, at this point, now my main character, while not even doing it quote-unquote right. So does this sound at all like your problem? Are you watching people wondering how in the heck they are climbing and you're not, but not really able to see what's differentiating their gameplay from yours? Because this is the exact same problem I had been having for like the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm going to try and crack that issue for you right now. I mulled this over for a few days after watching that video, and I realized that there has to be some kind of concept, some way of thinking about the problem of winning the game that I'm not understanding that other people are understanding. Here was my analysis. 1. There are people in Celestial Eternity and Top 500 who are Mr. Fantastic one tricks right now. 2. Thus, it is hypothetically possible for me to do the same thing. 3. I am not succeeding and I am stuck in GM, so I must be doing several things wrong. 4. It may be easier to climb on other characters that are better, but it is possible to climb on this character, so there must be things I do not understand specifically that are holding me back. So let's list some of the things about Mr. Fantastic that might inform us of what that might be. Mr. Fantastic does have bad single target and burst damage with low kill pressure that cannot overcome healing independently in most cases. I have been maximizing for playmaking, off-angling, flanking, and so on, but it is not working in most cases, even though that is how you would typically climb on another DPS according to all of the advice I found. Mr. Fantastic does seem to fare best in stats results as an attachment to another character, providing high assist value by setting up or achieving final blows, or frontlining as a pop-up tank in brawls, or winning 1v1s on isolated targets without healing present. Playing like this has also not been making me climb. Mr. Fantastic does not require any high mechanical skill, so this can't be the differentiator. His ability cycling is definitely important for maximizing value, but doing it correctly is not causing me to climb and is not required to climb if we go look at the example from Ottr. I am using natural cover, and I am not dying very much in most of my games. I am being aggressive where space and timing allows. I am doing all of these things already at a competent level, but I am not climbing. Thus, it cannot be a mechanical or technical skill that I am missing that is depressing my win rate. It cannot be the character itself, since other people have done it and are doing it better than me. Therefore, it really must be something I am thinking wrong, some frame of reference, some fundamental heuristic I am not using when playing. And that is where Death in Gaming comes in. I know of this guy thanks to Shoddy, and he has a great little channel where he breaks a lot of stuff down in a way I personally find enjoyable to listen to and is very insightful. And I'd like to play you a clip, because this clip clicked something on in my brain that made me realize what I was doing wrong this whole time.
That being said, the one that was probably the easiest was somehow Captain America, something I didn't expect. But the truth is that what wins games isn't aim, it's winning the objective and controlling the objective. And I found that Cap is amazing at controlling the objective and controlling space and dictating the pace of the game, that like I didn't realize how much easier it was to win a game as Cap than it was as playing Psylocke and getting a bunch of kills. I could be playing Psylocke and get 50 kills and 36 final blows and lose the game. I didn't do a whole lot in terms of getting kills, but like it's still 1-0. All I did was make sure that payload didn't move forward. That was my job, and I did so successfully.
It's a great clip, and the rest of this video is great too, so go watch it if you have some time. But the thing I realized was I was fighting to win team fights and 1v1s, and for my scoreboard. I was not fighting to win the objective, to push the payload, to prevent the payload from moving. I was often selling space to save my life, when I should have been selling my life as slowly as possible to keep the payload from moving. What I was doing fundamentally wrong was not thinking about how every action I take brings value to the objective. This probably seems super duper obvious, so obvious that you, like me, probably stopped thinking about it. The objective wins the game. Yeah, duh. Gave way to all these tactics you learned on how to win team fights. But let me really press on this issue and ask you a serious question. Have you ever lost a game where you were destroying the enemy team in kills to death ratio? Like you were annihilating them in every team fight on some payload map like Yggdrasil Path or whatever, but they kept getting the payload to each checkpoint. Maybe they just ult dumped you every single time the payload made it to the door and checkpoint, and somehow, despite how everyone on your team was literally out killing them 3-1, you lost the game. I bet you have, because I've had that happen more than once. No, it's not really the norm, but it does beg the question, how can something like that happen? I started seeing videos pop up recently, actually, where people are on Magic or Psylocke, and they're talking about their high elo losses, where they are like 50-0. They're killing so many enemies, but it doesn't matter because it didn't impact the objective's progress to the point significantly enough to matter. So if it's the case that high kill pressure heroes can lose games, even when they're killing everything, then it makes sense that low kill value heroes can climb when they aren't, since kills are clearly not the requirement. They're merely an instrumental utility of achieving the objective game. So back to Death in Gaming. Captain America has pretty bad kill pressure. In fact, lots of characters do. So they have to win by providing value to the objective. And this is not the minor perspective change it looks like. It is a change in your focus that will inform how you play each life you have. I'm going to spend some time highlighting this. Let's take a look at an example in my own gameplay. This idea came to me thanks to Captain Coach from his early guide on the thing. We won point, and I am just standing on the payload. And then I hop on voice comms and I tell my team to press up and fight up. Why? Why am I not up there fighting with them? And we're gonna just be brutally honest about it. Who normally has cart duty? Normally the healers, right? But let's be real. Mr. Fantastic does not have the best damage output, and he's not going to have more impact at the start of a hypothetical 5v6 than allowing both healers to play up with the team. If things get dicey, I can leave payload to go fight and use my abilities to gap close and get big so I can swing the aggregate health pool in our favor. So I'm actually well suited to this support surprise pop-up tank role here. But if I push this payload now, then we move it faster, and we might diff the enemy in time per meter next round and win the game at the end. All that matters is how fast we push this cart. I am not maximizing my individual performance. I am maximizing my team's chances of getting free stagger picks on a disorganized enemy team while minimizing the time it takes to move this payload. Plus, point of order, Mr. Fantastic pretty much wins every solo, no heals involved 1v1 in the game. I don't need to be afraid of some diver ruining my day and knocking me off the payload. This payload is mine, baby. So Thor gets a fat triple on his ult and we win this checkpoint basically uncontested. Later in this same game, on defense, I solo stall the hold point so long that our team actually makes it back to continue the contest as I die. I then make it back while they are holding, and we almost actually hold this point altogether, but we C9'd it by accident, and then win shortly after when they run out of time without making it even half as far. Now my scoreboard wasn't especially impressive in this game, so let's look at another one. After all, you really could look at this scoreboard and think that I got carried, but I want you to look at the players on the teams. Half my teammates in this game are the same, and half my teammates from the last game are on the enemy team this time. All of these players performed extremely well in the last game. But in this game, I went 22-0, and it's not like I didn't get big value. Look as we push onto point. I get an early pick on Strange, and then I get a solo and early pick on this Hawkeye who is firing uncontested as an isolated target up on this high ground. This pick is a big deal because the alternative was us risking one-shots against our supports as we attempt to secure this point and drive the payload. Hawkeye can be nasty like that. So my kill here is actually what allows us to take this point in some sense. Later in this same game, we are defending, and it's a pretty messy fight for quite a long time. But we actually get a full hold thanks to a stall I pull off. Watch this segment. Notice how, as the fight progresses, I have actually initiated a stall using my shift, and then I am leveraging my abilities to go into big mode, get a big pile of health, and then I decide to ult. And as I'm ulting, I start on the point and I notice I'm taking a lot of damage, so I leave point to chase this Luna off point, hopefully landing on this health pack that Spider-Man unfortunately takes. Realizing I'm at my last bounce or two, I jump up onto the high ground, canceling out of my ult. Now I might have been able to run over and grab the health pack nearby, but I'm not sure I could make it without running out of time to continue the stall. My team is on its way back and are calming me as such. And so I think I can probably manage to cycle my abilities one more time and go big and get that 450 health pool to survive a little longer. And I actually pull it off until my healers get back. And so I do not actually die and manage to continue a full hold on this point with my team. We hold and we win. Now I know I probably seem like I'm being pedantic and it seems like these are all obvious things, but what I'm trying to get at here is it's not about this concept that I'm trying to teach you. It's actually about keeping it in focus. It is the way that I am thinking about this all the time that is enabling me to do these kinds of things, to make the correct decision and plan a little ahead to achieve the desired outcome of actually stalling when it matters and not wasting my life stalling when it doesn't, and I want to get back to my team faster. The difference between a good stall and a bad stall is how badly you are staggered and how much of a chance you actually give your team to make it back to continue the fight. Making that judgment means keeping in mind the objective as the priority. It's not about winning the team fight, it's not about getting kills. This is literally the only thing that I changed to go from a 48% recent win rate, which is pretty bad, to a 64% recent win rate. Okay, but why? It's time for the pretty pictures I mentioned. So if you want to look at the screen, I'm going to put some drawings on it. See this circle? This circle represents the set of thoughts you will likely have if you are thinking about playing the game at a simple level. Tactical stuff, using abilities, flanking, doing damage, not missing shots, not dying, etc. The next sphere of conception expanding out of this is, hey, I need to do things specifically that will win me team fights. I want to provide value to my team, like timing my flanks with the team's push to overwhelm the enemy in a team fight, or using my ultimate after the enemy support ultimate is done so that I get maximum value, and so on. But the next circle is the circle of strategy, the circle of how do I win the objective. This is not some trivial distinction. This is a frame of reference upon which you make decisions. I know I'm kind of being repetitive here, but I'm trying to explain something that I find difficult to explain, but that definitely worked for me. So I'm going to try another example. Look at this clip. I am looking around and I suddenly realize my team is way over there because, hey, I turned around and looked like I'm supposed to. And I am behind the enemy supports and no one is looking at me right now. If I am in this smaller sphere of thinking we talked about earlier, the tactical sphere, I'm going to be like, I should kill these supports. They're not looking at me. If I'm in this sphere, this higher level sphere about team fights, I'm going to be thinking, I can't actually kill these supports solo, and even if I do, my team will probably still lose this team fight. I should go hide and live and re-engage when my team respawns. But that's also wrong, because if I'm thinking about this from the strategic level sphere about the objective, I instead should walk up quietly up to this payload and stall it. Why? Because there's only a certain number of seconds on the clock, and I've got more survivability than most other heroes. If I cycle my cooldowns right, I can definitely burn that clock down a significant time. That specific choice comes from keeping your focus on the strategic goal. Win the game by winning the objective. Nothing else matters. Your scoreboard is useless because it doesn't tell the whole story. Okay, it's not useless, it has value, but it's not super useful in all cases because it doesn't tell you all the little things that can go into a win or a loss. It's just a scoreboard. What matters to you is winning. Remember when I brought up that Hawkeye? That was a solo kill that mattered because it helped set the stage to guarantee our successful capture of that point. It was not cool because it was a solo kill. It was cool because if he had continued to have free reign, he probably would have killed a support. And then we would have been in a losing situation, not a winning one for the objective. Do you see how the level of analysis is more complex? But the principle I'm talking about is super easy to retain in your head as you're playing the game. It's not hard to hold this in mind, but if you don't, you're never going to be thinking about the problem correctly. The only reason I am making these better decisions is because I have reframed the problem. I'm always asking the question in my head, how does this help me win the objective? If it doesn't have a good reason, then I just don't do it. This is optimizing for victory, and it will work for any hero in any role. Exactly what things you should do and when are going to be changed based on your hero. But the thought being there as your priority is what will matter to help you climb. I hope you found this helpful. I hope it helps you climb. There's certainly way more to climbing than just this one neat trick, but it made such an enormous difference in my moment-to-moment decision making that it was the difference between making the right choice for the win and farming kills, but losing for me.
Another epic victory!
Warm regards.
Reginald.
I would like to take a moment to express my genuine and significant gratitude to Bonehead for becoming my first Oath Taker level member. Your support really does mean a lot to me and has made it so much easier for me to continue to justify the amount of effort I pour into this channel. I'd also like to thank Miles Williams Lewis, Joseph Davison, Shackleford, and McSpan for supporting my channel through my Adept level membership. Your atypical support really means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. I'd also like to extend a thank you to the rest of my members. The support helps the channel a lot. If you would like to become a member of this channel, there is a link in the description below and a join button next to the subscribe button. Thank you all so much for visiting. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.